Welcome to Study Session 5. The need for guidance and counseling in Nigeria educational system. Introduction. Since independence, Nigeria's educational system has gone through series of reviews. The reasons for these various reviews might be related to factors such as educational, economic, technological, social, and ideological changes. In fact, guidance and counseling can be used as a vehicle for social justice, economic recovery, and self-reliance in order to make Nigeria transit from developing to a developed nation. In this study session, you will learn about the need for guidance and counseling services in Nigerian educational system and the universal basic education. Learning outcomes. At the end of this study session, you should be able to 1. List the need for guidance and counseling services in Nigerian educational system. 2. Discuss on the universal basic education. 3. Identify some of the factors responsible for need for guidance and counseling. The need for guidance and counseling in Nigerian educational system. The need for guidance and counseling in our educational system is increasingly pressing as educational, economic, technological, social, and ideological advancements are being made. Each student will need to be helped to strengthen his own abilities to make wise and realistic choices and to face problems encountered in society. It is observed that each of these factors impinges on the individual in ways that make achieving self-fulfillment more difficult. The school dropouts will particularly need guidance. In the opinion of Durojaye 1972, the problems of integration of the different ethnic groups in Nigeria may well be a problem which guidance and counseling may help to solve by helping to develop appropriate curricula, organization, and policies in our educational systems which will emphasize integration and tolerance among future citizens. Educational changes. The inadequacy of the curriculum of our educational system to our needs and aspirations after independence in 1960 made it necessary for government to search for a new philosophy and policy of education. In the search for a national philosophy of education, the Nigerian Educational Research Council (NERC) organized a national conference on the curriculum development in September 1969. The National Curriculum Conference of 1969 was the first attempt at beginning of a national program to revitalize and renew education after independence. The 1969 conference was not a conference of experts and professionals alone, but of the people. It comprised the A. representative of trade unions, B. farmers unions, C. women's organizations, D. university teachers, E. administrators as well as ministry officials, and F. representatives from Ministry of Education of all the then 12 states of Nigeria. The conference reviewed old and identified new national goals for Nigerian education at all levels and provided guidelines on the future direction of the system, bearing in mind the needs of young and adults in the task of nation building and national reconstruction of social and economic being of the individual and the society. The curriculum conference was obviously an effort to put quality into education and ensure that education responds to the national needs and aspirations. It aimed at making more meaningful and relevant to our system and our culture by offering many usable options relevant to the background of its products. The curriculum conference was followed by a government-sponsored national seminar in 1973 under the chairmanship of Chief S.O. Adebo to deliberate on all aspects of our national policy on education using the report of the 1969 curriculum conference as the working documents. All states, the universities, and interested local organizations participated in this seminar. The National Policy on Education, first published in 1977, revised in 1981, was based on the recommendations of the seminar. According to the policy, the new educational system will be 6-3-3-4. That is 6 years of primary school, 3 years of junior secondary, 3 years of senior secondary, and the university runs for 4 years. Professional courses run for 5 or more years. The two-tier of secondary education aims at two main objectives. A. Preparing and selecting pupils for the next stage of educational system, and B. Preparing those who will not proceed to the next stage of education for employment and useful living within the society. Already, the Universal Free Primary Education (UPE), launched in 1976, brought into the school normal, maladjusted, handicapped, gifted, and talented children with diverse backgrounds. Consequently, psychological screening has to become an important aspect of our primary school. Normal children at academic risk should identify early enough and preventive measures and strategies planned. Guidance becomes more necessary in post-primary institutions where substantial number of school leavers will have access to secondary education. Many important problems will arise in the transition from junior to secondary, technical, teachers' colleges, or vocational schools. Junior secondary school (JSS), ages 13 to 15 years. At the junior secondary school level of schooling, the student is completing learning of fundamental academic and pre-vocational skills and is getting ready for the departmentalized and subject-concentrated studies of the senior secondary school. During this period, he and experienced teachers and counselors need to reach at least tentative conclusion about what his senior secondary school education will be like. Will it be wholly academic, aimed at preparation for the university? Will it be mostly vocational or technical, at preparing for a job immediate after graduating from senior secondary? Will it be a combination of vocational, technical, and academic studies aimed at keeping choices open for later decision? Van, 1970, has argued that the main reasons for provision of guidance in the junior secondary school are: A. The range of courses that will be available to pupils. B. The wide spectrum of individual differences among applicants for them. And C. The size of the school themselves. In Fafnwa's review, guidance and counseling, particularly of the junior level of the secondary school, will play an important role in the education and social growth of the individual. Awokoya, 1980, felt that without academic and career guidance and counseling in the junior secondary schools, the whole purpose cannot be achieved. The pupils must be guided about the combination of subjects which will lead to the career for which he is motivated. Aptitude testing will also have to be incorporated. He aptly concluded, no matter how good and well structured the new educational policy may be as it relates to junior secondary, if guidance and counseling services are not given priority and made an integral part of the system, it cannot succeed. It can therefore be seen from the above that the junior secondary school years are critical periods in lifetime guidance. Social changes. Social changes are factors which have to do with many rapid social changes which have distrusted influences on the homes of their children. Children of today are reaching out much earlier than our generation did, and they are being changed by their experiences. The excitement, anxiety, and confusion of today's world are reflected in the personalities of young adults. These rapid changes often place considerable stress on individuals and groups who, in coping and adaptation mechanism, often break down when they find it too difficult to accommodate these changes. The counselors therefore should understand the pressures and needs of today's youth. The family has always been known as a potent influence in the development of the individual child, but there exist recent changes in the family pattern and in the relationship of the family to community. Lives are of greater significance in the school. The traditional sources of help, such as the member of the extended family to which the troubled adolescent could turn, are gradually waning. Whereby they are available, they are inadequate in helping adolescents solve his educational, vocational, and personal social problems. There are many parents in Nigeria today who can't care for their children. They have no time to discuss with their children at home. Many parents, especially in the urban cities, are only interested in making money to the total neglect of their social responsibilities to their children. The incidence of divorce, broken homes among married couples is increasing. This often leaves many children without the parental care. The situation is further compounded by the fact that Nigeria is today beset by other problems as the A. Lack of any guiding values, B. Lack of patriotism, C. Acrimonious interpersonal conflict, D. Brazen armed robbery and corruption, E. Little or no value for life, drug trafficking, F. Colossal inefficiency and indiscipline. Consequently, many children now look forward to the school to provide the much needed love, care, and guidance. Ipaye 1980 has observed that the stability and influence of the home, the church, and mosque are also weakening more, and their responsibilities, particularly in the social and emotional realms, have been entrusted to the school. He further argued that the Nigerian society is drifting to a situation where the school is being called upon to provide broad range of mental health and therapeutic services to the children, their parents, families, and their teachers too. Thus, guidance and counseling, a socially based relationship, becomes the buffer, the citadel of hope for correcting, reinstating, and for redirecting the society to the path of sanity. Many other social problems of our time which students often bring to counselors include problems of achievements, social interaction, life goals, fear of witchcraft, medicine men, marriage, boyfriend, girlfriend, adjusting to different teachers for different subjects, many new subjects to study, problems of relationship with classmates, seniors, teachers, parents, vocational problems, and uncertainty about the future. The counselor should recognize that a family in which the child grows is not immune from these problems. All these problems are also dependent on the society, time, and place a given individual lives, and that the school is an integral part of the society, and the educational system a microcosm of the social system. There is therefore the need to reconcile these socio-cultural conflicts of our modern age in the interest of the education of our adolescents. Ideological changes. The ideological factor, as stated in the National Policy on Education, are potent in influencing educational as well as aspects of guidance in Nigeria school today. The National Policy on Education fundamentally stimulated building of 1. A free and democratic society, 2. A just and egalitarian society, 3. A united, strong, and self-reliant nation, 4. A great and dynamic economy, and 5. A land of bright and full opportunities for all citizens. Hitherto, secondary and higher education were made available to only children of parents who could afford to pay tuition fees and other school charges. Today, tuition is free at primary, secondary, and federal university at undergraduate level, the consequence of which many young people are, irrespective of class, have access to secondary and higher education. The rate of transition from primary, as stated in the 3rd National Development Plan 1975 to 1980 and articulated in the policy, was 70%, which would include admission to craft schools and vocational center as well as into junior secondary school. The target to be aimed at by all states would be 100% enrollment. According to the policy, the GSS will be free as soon as possible and will teach the basic subjects which will enable pupils to acquire further knowledge and develop skills. The senior secondary has comprehensive core curriculum designed to broaden student knowledge and outlook. The core curriculum is the group of subjects which every pupil must take in addition to his or her specialization. The widening of the curriculum is to give the student an opportunity. Take two. The widening of the curriculum is to give the student in an educational system an opportunity to learn to use his head as well as his hands so as to appreciate the dignity of labor. This is a complete departure from the traditional system and is aimed at providing the student with a large number of options, both academic and technical. In a nutshell, Nigeria's philosophy of education can be said to be based on the integration of the individual into a sound and effective citizen and equal educational opportunities for all citizens of the nation at the primary, secondary, and tertiary levels, both inside and outside the formal school system. The central theme of the philosophy is the individual into complete functioning man. This also shows that government has faith that man could control his own evolution given the freedom to proceed as far as his abilities can carry him. It is in this context that guidance and counseling should be given by the counselors based on the child's abilities as may be reviewed by objective testing and continuous assessment records. The child should also be informed of the educational and vocational opportunities available by consulting with parents, teachers, and employment agencies. Economic and technological changes. With these educational policies and practices, there have been a number of important economic and social changes in our society that did not exist before 1970. They are unparalleled in our history as a nation, and they are important to our education approaches as well as career guidance. The sudden emergence of an oil economy, the new wealth that nature has bestowed on Nigeria in the 70s had influenced Nigeria's economic, social, and political life. These have given young people today a far wider field of career opportunities in the world of science, medicine, pharmacy, food science, agriculture, petrochemicals, computerization, and automated processes in the public and private sector employment at local, state, and federal government levels, in the world of building with its new design and material, in the world of communication, travel, and mass media. These are just a few of the career areas in which new jobs and opportunities have been developed which were unknown to today's parents when they left school 3 decades ago. What they knew would be to work as an engineer, a lawyer, an accountant, a teacher, or a pastor may be quite inaccurate now, and even more so in the near future. The forces of this new technology were beginning to create a new occupational structure. If the secondary school leaver of the 1980s is to have better chance of employment, he must be aware of the existence of avenues open to him now and in the future. Secondary occupation, commerce, industry, housing, petroleum, and petrochemical and technical services have expanded rapidly since the oil boom era of the 1970s. The one-time mighty primary occupation, farming, fishing, mining, became less important as part of Nigeria's economic life. Our forefathers, who were farmers and farm laborers, joined the force at pre-independence and pre-boom era became an endangered. Take two. At pre-independence and pre-boom era became an endangered species. However, recently, efforts are being made by the federal government to reawaken citizens' interest in farming, especially the youth. Pursuant to this reawakening, government established the Directorate of Food, Road, and Rural Infrastructure in order to bring majority of Nigerians to live in the rural areas into the mainstream of national development, as well as encouraging more people to go back to land and farm. The recognition that Nigeria's manpower is still in short supply in some major sectors of our commerce, industry, agriculture, engineering, technical, to mention a few, means a more determined attempt has to be made, especially by the school counselors, to make individual students find jobs which will make full use of their skills and talents. At the same time, a positive attempt has to be made to survey and inform students about various job opportunities rather than hoping that they will find out for themselves. This definitely broadens the occupational horizon and aspirations of the products of the new educational system, thus preparing them for a world of work. Students who live at the junior secondary stage will need information on an apprenticeship or some other scheme of out-of-school vocational training and prospects for employment. In the same vein, those who complete secondary school will need information on the kind of job or training that are available in the country and higher institutions with the available courses. Universal Basic Education. Recently, the emphasis is on a new program for children in primary to GSS3 called Universal Basic Education. The Universal Basic Education Program is a 9-year basic education program which was launched and executed by the government and people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to eradicate illiteracy, ignorance, and poverty, as well as stimulate and accelerate national development, political consciousness, and national integration. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo flagged off UBE on 30th September 1999 in Sokoto State. The UBE program is Nigeria's strategy for the achievement of education for all and education-related Millennium Development Goals, MDGs. It is also one of the strategies for realizing the nation's economic agenda as enunciated by the National Economic Empowerment and Development Strategy, NEEDS. The implementation process of the program has been on since 1999, but progress was hampered by lack of an enabling law to execute certain aspects of the program. What a big relief it was when the President signed the UBE bill into law in 26 May 2004 following its passage by the National Assembly. The UBE Act 2004 makes provision for basic education comprising of primary and junior secondary education. The financing of basic education is the responsibility of states and local governments. However, the federal government has decided to intervene in the provision of basic education with 2% of its consolidated revenue fund for states to fully benefit from this fund. Criteria were established which states are to comply. The Act also provided for the establishment of the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, to coordinate the implementation of the program at the states and local government through the State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, of each state and the local government education authorities. The Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, was formally established on 7th October 2004. Vision Statement. At the end of 9 years of continuous education, every child should acquire appropriate and relevant skills and values and be employable in order to contribute his or her quota to national development. Mission Statement. To serve as a prime energizer of national movement for the actualization of the nation's universal basic education, UBE vision. Working in concert with all stakeholders, thus mobilizing the nation's creative energies to ensure that education for all becomes the responsibility of all. Scope of UBE. Programs and initiatives for early childhood care and education, 6-year primary education, and 3 years of junior secondary education. Objectives of UBE. The objectives of UBE program are as follows: ensure unfettered access to 9 years of formal basic education, the provision of free universal basic education for every Nigerian child of school age, reducing drastically the incidence of dropout from the formal school system through improved relevance, quality, and efficiency, ensuring the acquisition of appropriate levels of literacy, manipulative, communicative, and life skills, as well as the ethical, moral, and civic values needed for laying a solid foundation for lifelong learning. From the mission, vision, and objectives of universal basic education, it is clear that it is a cardinal objective of the UBE that every school should have a counselor. Senior Secondary School, SSS, ages 15 to 18 years. At the senior secondary school level, the student will be faced with final decision about continuing his formal education after secondary school or going to work if the decision has not been taken. Senior Secondary School, SSS, ages 15 to 18 years. At the senior secondary school level, the student will be faced with final decision about continuing his formal education after secondary school or going to work if the decision has not been taken. If he has made the decision to continue schooling, he should decide by the end of the second year or third year in senior secondary school which post-secondary institution he intends to go and for what purpose. For example, university, polytechnic, college of education, school of agriculture, school of forestry, nursing school, and so on. Moreover, when the new educational system becomes fully operational in all the states of the Federation, a large number of children may fail in their academic work and will need help with their study habits or with their examination techniques. The graduates of the new system will need more guidance on where, to which course to pursue, what careers they can engage in, and the opportunities that they have for training and employment. A number of eminent scholars have also enunciated very succinctly the need for guidance in educational system. Abiri, 1973, opined that if our society is not to be plagued with a brood of disgruntled, frustrated, and unrealistic individuals, secondary school students should be exposed to available opportunities and social expectations in the country through career guidance and counseling. According to Olayinka, 1978, counseling in school and colleges will enable the country to identify her talented youth and nurture them to the optimal level of social, educational, and economic development. In his view, guiding young people to pursue the right type of education in which there is no overproduction of certain manpower needs and underproduction of the other aspects of the manpower needs is the sure process of building a prosperous and advanced country. From the viewpoint of the author, the nation will gain more when the talents and potentials of its youth are discovered early enough and channeled to appropriate career. The explosion of demand for education in Nigeria today makes it absolutely necessary to organize on a more formal basis both the secondary schools, in the universities, and in other higher institutions, departments or centers for academic counseling. There is a need to pay attention to each individual within the school to ensure that hidden and talents are identified and developed to the optimum. The causes of failures in adjustment to the personal help can be offered when greater consideration must be given to each individual in the new educational system in fostering, offering new choices and broader educational opportunities than before. Summary of study session. In this study session, you have learned that 1. The need for guidance and counseling in our educational system is increasingly pressing as educational, economic, technological, social, and ideological advancements are being made. 2. The Universal Basic Education UBE program is a 9-year basic educational program which was launched and executed by the government and people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to eradicate illiteracy, ignorance, and poverty as well as stimulate and accelerate national development, political consciousness, and national integration. 3. The National Curriculum Conference of 1969 was the first attempt and beginning of a new national program to revitalize and renew education after independence. 4. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo flagged off the UBE on 30th September 1999 in Sokoto State. 5. The objectives of the UBE program are as follows. Ensure unfettered access to 9 years of formal basic education, the provision of free universal basic education for every Nigerian child of school-going age, reducing drastically the incidence of dropouts from the formal school system through improved relevance, quality, and efficiency, ensuring the acquisition of appropriate levels of literacy. We have come to the end of study session 5. Thanks for listening.